numerous exhaustive negotiations and bargaining has ensued regarding the enactment of new national minimum wage into law. Though the practice of national minimum wage is not new in any governmental system, it has become a severe nightmare in Nigeria as government is finding it difficult to rectify the situation by taking necessary measures. While examining a cursory analysis of the provisions of wages by state governors, head of media and public affairs of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulrazaque Barkindo, expressed state governors are not against the upward review of the minimum wage, neither, but they're worried about finding resources to cater to the new figure if it is approved. According to him, many states are still facing challenges with paying the current minimum wage. He said while some states are paying 35% and 50% respectively, some states have salary arrears.
It's the lie that the Nigerian Labour Congress feeds the Nigerian people. Even in the United States, there is a national minimum wage and there is a paradigm where states that can pay would pay. I just have the records here. If you look at this record that I have, in the United States, there's in 2018 the minimum wage was $10.250, but $10.250 is for California, and in California anybody who does not employ more than 26 staff can pay $10,250. Those who employ less than 26 will pay more than 10,000.
So what you're saying now is Nigeria can also adopt that process?
It's not about adopting, it's about capability. If you are capable of paying more than that, you pay more than that. But there is no rule that says because the minimum, okay, what Labour wants is for the federal government to set the minimum wage at 30,000. If it does so, states are saying there are states that will go bankrupt immediately after paying 2 or 3 months. So what they are saying is set the minimum wage standard threshold at 22,500. So that states that can pay more than 30,000 can pay more than 30,000. As a matter of fact, this is to the advantage of Labour. But Labour is refusing to meet governors halfway. And that is where the conundrum is. Today, the president himself is in a fix because he has not decided whether to go with Labour or to go with governors. But who is stronger in this battle? It's the governors, because the governors have a lot of staff to pay in the states. And if you put the threshold at 30,000, governors might decide, even at 18,000, first of all, the federal government is borrowing to pay the 18,000, so it's not capable itself in paying 18,000. And a lot of states that cannot pay 22,500, if you raise it to 30,000, they can decide to rationalize the 30,000 like they were doing with the 18,000. But governors are magnanimous enough to say, we will move to 22,500, and states that are buoyant enough can pay more than 22,500. I think that's, everybody has a relation in the civil service. Yeah. So nobody wants his own relation to be parasites or to continue to be in depravity. So it's not like we're happy to say that Nigerian workers will pay less and will earn less than 30,000. Nobody is happy about that. But we're saying look at the capacity of states. What the 6 or 8 governors that met the president last 2 weeks did was to take the books to the president. And these books are from the 6 different geopolitical regions and show him clearly the capacity of states. Show him that here are states that are capable of paying today, but if they start paying 30,000 today, by March 2019, they may not be able to pay. Okay. Those states would go bankrupt. And here are states that are capable of paying 30,000 or more, but if they continue to pay 30,000 or more, by September next year, they will not be able to pay, or they would go bankrupt, or their economies would recede. So what they are saying, for instance, we had the example of Lagos at the meeting. Lagos State said, right now his wage bill is 7.5 billion. Pensioners in the state are earning over 2.6 billion, which makes his wage bill more than 10 billion. Now, if he begins to pay 30,000, the wage bill will rise to between 13 and 15 billion, including the pensioners' bills. So by the time he gets let's say, IGR of 27 billion and has to pay 15 or 16 billion in wages, there will be nothing left, or at least less than that left for services. And people don't vote for you to just pay salaries, because workers are less than 5% of the population of this country. So people vote for you to provide services to take care of health, education, and infrastructure.
Relating to the struggle to effect the current wage demand, he says the agitation of the Nigerian Labour Congress has been unreasonable and baseless, saying the federal government overriding role in wage fixing and labour-related matters without giving primacy to the economic considerations of the state would amount to an exercise in futility. Decision.
I have met Labour at different fora in this country in the last 1 or 2 months, and I've challenged them to show me what they are doing that is progressive for the worker in Nigeria. Labour in Nigeria has not been able to take care of one person out of work. One person out of work. And I've asked them, show me one person that has been sacked or rusticated from work or is on interdiction, that you are paying his salary and you are helping his children go to school. There is none. What do they do with the check of dues that go into their accounts? Every worker pays between 300 and 600 naira to Labour every month from 1960 to date. What did they do with the money? What did they do with the buses that the federal government gave them in 1985? Each state got more than 20 buses. Where are the buses? They behave like policemen. They sell steerings, they sell tires. So let them sit down and think responsibly as a union. They shouldn't just... If Labour comes to governors and sits with them and sees the books and decides that, okay, yes, this is what we're going to do. Yes, governors would also try to hype up whatever they're saying. And at the tripartite committee, the governors said they were at the meeting, and the resolutions of this meeting do not tally with the books that governors have in their various states. And somebody sits there and says, oh, the Nigeria Governors Forum is not recognized. We have a Nigerian Bar Association president as governor, and he sits here. So if it is not recognized, because you sit down as a Labour president and say whatever you want, but you're not a lawyer. So I think Labour is being sincerely unreasonable, and unless they become reasonable, I don't think the president that they are relying on is even going to hearken to their requests, because that's why this thing is now in limbo. And the timing is also wrong, because this is election time. Labour thought by coming here, at election period and saying it's either you give us 30,000 or we vote you out. I said to Labour, you formed Labour Party. How many states did you win? You didn't win anything. So no governor today is afraid of what Labour is saying.
Still examining the issues that have engulfed the struggle for minimum wage increase, Abdulrazaque Barkindo emphasized that for the government to succeed in any national wage issue, profound solutions must be adhered to. He advised that individual states should be allowed to pay the workers' wages that is based on the financial strength and the subsisting cost of living.
That's neither here nor there. This tripartite committee, headed by, Madam Ahmad Pepple, has already submitted its resolutions to the president without any governor appending his signatures to it. And the president has been sitting on it. And that's because there is another group that is very integral to this discussion that is saying, no, this is not right. And think about it. We have 36 states. And if 10 of those 36 states cannot pay 30,000. Even if you make 30,000 your minimum wage, some of your members are going to be sitting and waiting for money to be paid that's never coming. So I think the most realistic thing for Labour to do is to meet the governors halfway. Come and sit with governors and agree on the pattern of payment. Because this is what Labour keeps saying, there's a national minimum wage, practice all over the world. Yes, there is. We agree there is. But all over the world too, there are states that can pay and there are states that cannot pay. And this threshold is between states that can pay and states that cannot pay, people who employ this number of workers and people who employ less, and things like that. Labour is just not listening. And it's telling me that governors are flying private. Governors were flying private just before they were elected. It's telling me that governors are driving convoys. There is a Labour president who became governor, and he didn't ride a bicycle. He was driving in convoys too. So Labour has no reason
to continue to look at, what the governors are doing and use it as an argument. It's a blank argument.